Welcome to Why We're Fans. I'm Duran, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Gennaro.
In all of our episodes, we cover the past, present, and the future of all your favorite NFL football teams.
We love hearing your stories, talking the NFL draft, and reminiscing about the good old days.
If you like the same, be sure to subscribe to this channel and like this episode. And leave a comment below if you want to answer any of our questions.
Follow us on Twitter to stay up to date on our latest interviews. And like we always say, win or lose, we're all fans. Enjoy this episode.
And welcome back to another episode of Why We're Fans. We are here today with actually one of my team's newest rivals, Kansas City Chiefs fans. We got Kyle Henning with us. Kyle, how you doing today, buddy?
I am doing well, guys. Glad to finally get time and get the ability to come on with you guys. We've been trying to do this for a little while now. For those who behind the scenes look a little sneak peek, I guess. But
yeah, finally we've been trading some messages and whatnot, trying to get this set up. I'm glad we finally got the time. I know everything's been hectic, but glad that we finally got this going. We had your buddy who said on here, and he told me to give you a holler, and I'm really excited about this one. I mean, even though, like I said, I consider you guys one of my recent rivals, but you guys are an excited team. You guys got some players that are phenomenal to watch. So definitely, like the team players, not necessarily team, but it's a good one to watch.
Yeah, that's it's nice to have the talent and the be the envy of a lot of folks now. That's not something those of us who have been in Chiefs Kingdom for a long time are super familiar with.
Yeah,
and
right.
Shout out to you, Sade. Appreciate that, dude. He's a good dude. Like you said a lot.
Oh yeah, he was a fun interview. Duran, how's it going, man?
Good. Back with another Chiefs fan. The Chiefs, like you said, are an exciting team, especially recently, but it's another franchise that's been through the ups and the downs. I know they're on the upswing right now, but there's going to be tons of memories that we can go through.
Yeah, it was 50 years before
Exactly.
that last one. So
yep.
Sure. Duran, you drinking on anything special?
Absolutely. One of my favorites. It's been on here before. Fog Belt Screaming Giant Double IPA.
I got the Cooperage Brewing out here in Santa Rosa. Who wears jorts? Shout out to our boy Kyle out there. Excited for this one. This one's pretty solid.
It's a popular name.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like everybody's parents in the 90s named their kids Kyle.
Right. Exactly.
Kyle Long.
Damn.
Yeah. I wish he was healthier at the moment.
Yeah, me too. Big fan of him, but
story of his career.
Yeah, man. All right. So Kyle, if you want to go ahead and just let us know where we can find you, and if anything you're working on, anything you're excited about right now that you're kind of going through with, let us know.
I'll kind of try to keep it short. I got my hands in quite a bit of stuff because you can find me, my personal handle at KThen16 on pretty much anything. It's just kind of how it worked out. No, that wasn't the plan to be cheeky or anything with the handle. It just kind of worked out the way those are the initials. So, and that was my hockey number growing up as a kid. So that's just kind of how that fell. But KThen16 is my handle. I'm an executive member and one of the 5 that owns the Say It Again Network. So at SIA Network over there, the Say It Again Network is us. We've got podcasts, website, articles, sports, drive movies, TV, pop culture, you name it, we cover it.
Yep.
I'm on the Kingdom Says pod over there. That's the handle for that as well. I cover hockey over there for them as well. I'm on the First Line podcast. So I'm a pretty versatile dude when it comes to the sports landscape.
Beautiful.
Following any of the World Cup?
Soccer is the one sport that the only time I watch is international. And so the World Cup I do know about. I'm trying very hard. It's very difficult for me. I've just never been a fan of the sport for several reasons. But trying to get into the Premier League and trying to get into the MLS a little more, especially with sporting in the area. And since I'm constantly listening to Kansas City radio and all that stuff that you talk about in sporting and the Royals and all that stuff too. So trying to get into soccer more, but it is not my bread and butter.
Yeah, I mean, I'm same here with it. I mean, as soon as I hear about it from other people, I'm like, okay, then I'll start watching it for a little bit. I got to hear a little bit because one of my coworkers was listening to the Germany-England game. So, I mean,
that was a good game. I actually watched that game. So I've tried this UEFA tournament. I've actually watched a little bit of because I work from home and it's not that hard to watch TV while you work from home. So those games being midday gives you something to do on lunch break and around that time and gives you a little leeway. So it's been nice. That game was really interesting. I didn't expect the ending in that game for certain, but
yeah, it was Battle World War II, right? World War II. If I got that right.
Yep. Well, 1 and 2 technically, if you're being.
Yeah. If you want to get all historic on us,
get our history lessons correct, I guess, if we're doing history lessons on that.
That's the great thing about the show. We cover history lessons and also the history about you and your team, whatnot. So, without further ado, Duran, you ready to get into this?
Been ready.
All right. So, Kyle, how did you become a part of Chiefs Kingdom?
I was born into it.
Hey.
My grandfather, my dad, my uncle, my whole family. From the time my first memories of football are Chiefs football. That is what I grew up on. And that was at a time where one half of the ball was always pretty good and the other half usually stunk. Grew up with terrible offense and great defense with Derek Thomas and Neil Smith in the early 90s and progressed that into watching Todd Haley try to torpedo a whole franchise and an entire history in like 5 minutes. And then we had Romeo Crennel for 5 seconds, and finally Andy Reid came home. We've had a lot of great coaches in between. Marty Ball, Marty Schottenheimer, rest in peace, Marty.
Yeah.
One of the best to ever do it. We had a lot of different great coaches in this organization. We've had a lot of success, usually regular season, but man, there for a while it was tough. When I was in high school, we took a pounding, and it was a lot of Sundays where it was just, well, we're playing at noon because nobody wants to watch us play except locally, and we're probably going to get beat.
Well, did you grow up in the area?
I'm from Wichita, so I grew up about 2.5 hours south of Kansas City. First game was a Raiders game. So.
And how many generations do we got? You got you? Is it your dad, your grandpa?
4, because great grandpa was too.
Oh, nice. Yeah. There you go. You definitely.
And it'll be 5 whenever I get mine to add mine into it. So
exactly. Who's the biggest fan in the family? Have you taken over that title?
It's probably me at this point. Yeah. Just based on all of the because I cover and talk about and write about and interact, do stuff with the team and all that kind of stuff now. Yeah, it's definitely me more now than it ever was anybody else. Before that, it was probably my grandfather. My dad's a big fan, but my grandfather was the one who kind of kicked it all off. So,
yeah, I bet they've seen some shit, especially being the very first one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've been fans through all the way. He's been around since the AFL days. So,
yeah,
beautiful.
Everybody wore single bars, man.
And they didn't throw the ball. Which is a total dichotomy from what we watch now.
Yeah, man.
At least it's more exciting.
Oh yeah.
A lot less painful on the bodies for the players too, I would assume, as it goes.
Yeah.
Funny, I was just thinking about that. I'm sitting there Derrick Henry, how would he last? Back in the day, he'd probably do pretty well.
He probably wouldn't be too bad. It'd be it's all the
Tyreek Hill.
It's those guys that are going to be
the little guys.
It's a totally different style. So this game now is all about space and speed, and it reminds me, ironically, a lot of hockey, which is part of the reason I like this style of football more than I like the old school style of football. Nice. It's a wide open game. It's fast. There is defense, but it's reactive, big play defense. It's less of the plod, malod, cut down, slow the pace type defense. It's more excitement, so I like it a lot more now. It also helps that we happen to have that guy 15 at the helm.
Exactly. I love it because a guy like Tyreek Hill and Chris Jones, just to keep it Chiefs, play the same sport, and they're two completely different players. And no matter what your specialty is, the NFL will find a spot for you.
There's a photo of Chris standing next to Clyde and Tyreek.
Yeah.
OTAs or camp this year or last year.
Yeah.
And it looks like looks like somebody drew a cartoon and somebody got the sizing wrong.
Yep. That's what makes it so great.
And Chris, that dude, if you've never seen Chris Jones without pads on, the pads are basically just sprayed on.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's a monstrous human being.
Yeah.
Every time I think about that, I always think about how I think it was the first person I see to wear like small pads or pads that were just like sized to them is Michael Bennett. You know, the old school, like
he wears the those, oh God, what was
like
the
the
brand
shell
we all used to wear when we were kids? Yeah, the shells, the Rogers shells.
Oh wow.
Back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the skeleton pads that were supposed to go underneath it for extra protection, and he just wears that, man. It's pretty crazy to see. I mean, these guys are just taking on hits with the thinnest pads. I mean,
well, and I think it makes sense because, like, for me personally, like as a hockey player, I didn't ever want the big shoulder pads or the big, because we had kids that wore the big pads. I think most of us
want to be
parents were afraid they were going to get hurt. But like, that stuff's in my way. I got to move. I got to be able to hit. And plus, it's going to feel the same regardless. If I hit you with my shoulder wearing a giant plastic cap, or if I hit you with my shoulder, which one's going to hurt worse?
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I'm trying to separate you from the puck. I'm here to hurt you a little bit, not permanently, but a little bit, make you feel me. So
yeah.
It's the same. It's the same concept for me with these guys wearing basically no pads now.
Yeah. I mean, you want to be functional and everything like that. I mean, I remember when they stopped wearing like the leg pads. They used to have like the big old ones, like they wore the girdle and the butt pads. Like I was always the one trying to get like, you know, out of them and whatnot. Like I'd want to wear them.
Let me just get the tailbone pad. That's really the only one I worry about. Like, the rest of them, I don't really need the thigh pads or the stuff down by my knees, the hard slow down where I'm trying to turn. Give me the tailbone pad. Make sure I don't break my butt so I can't sit down. I'm good. Let's go.
I would keep the thigh pads and throw away the tailbone. Everyone's different. I wasn't a tailbone fan guy. Yeah,
I would wear the thigh pads. I mean, maybe like just like the little knee pads. I'd maybe wear like the plastic that's underneath all the padding. Just so it's so thin.
Yeah.
You know?
Perfect.
Just to show the ref that I do got it.
Do you remember the first time you saw these guys in person? Was it at a game, or have you attended a practice or anything like that?
It's all been game stuff. I'm hoping to make training camp this year.
Nice.
I was going to go last year, and well, we all know what happened with last year. So
of course,
I hope you make it this year, man.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's a big deal up in Kansas City because they actually go off site. They go to St. Joe every year with Andy. Missouri Western University, I think, is the name of it out there in St. Joe. I used to play hockey up there, so I should know better than that. But that's one of the towns we used to play against. They don't love me much from down in Wichita, but love the city up there. Love the place. Love when the Chiefs go up there for camp because it gives it more of that college feel when they get to go do the camp thing. And I think Andy really likes it, and it seems to work well. So anything that works well for what Andy does really well, I would like to leave alone.
Yep.
Leave it how it is.
It's working. It's working.
The old phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. You said your first game was a Raiders game?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was
How was that one?
Cold as hell. Raining. I was frozen solid, and they won. So it was good.
I'm guessing it was a home then, right?
Oh yeah, it was at Arrowhead. It was late November, mid-December in the early 90s, and it sucked weather-wise. You know, remember those hot hands you used to get at the gas stations and whatnot?
Yeah.
I had them in every portion of my body.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And it didn't do a thing.
Didn't even know it was there. Have you had a chance to go to the Seattle stadium? I just want to know.
I have not.
That's the battle about who's the loudest.
There's no battle.
You guys got it.
Look up Guinness. Call Guinness. Ask him who's got the battle.
Okay. My philosophy on it is, Seattle kind of built their stadium to have and the Chiefs didn't. And
that thing's got almost a soccer stadium layout to it. Yep. It's got a real on top of you feel. That face seems to like lean in over the top of the field out in Seattle, which is cool. It's really awesome. It's a nice idea, and that 12th man is something. Hey man, you can tell last year home field advantage didn't mean squat last year.
Yep.
There was nobody in the buildings.
Yep. No.
12th man's in Texas A&M. Come on, guys.
Yeah. A&M's got a claim to it too, but Seattle's the NFL version of the 12th man supposedly, and
Yeah.
Kansas City just doesn't ever put a name on it. You can ask John Elway how loud Arrowhead is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How was have you been to an away game?
I've been to one in Denver at the old stadium.
Old Mile High.
How was that?
It was cold. It was snowing.
Another cold.
Hey, you seen a theme here?
Yeah,
exactly.
here?
A lot of
It's your fault.
cold. Yeah, I don't get out to the coast much because Chargers games, there was never really a point. No offense, Chargers fans, but y'all know.
They know it's up.
And the Raiders, I'm sorry, but I was not about to go to the black hole. No, I'm good.
I feel
it ain't safe for players. It isn't safe for fans. Let me tell you a secret.
What about in Vegas now? I mean, they're out in Vegas. They got that nice new stadium.
Have you looked at ticket prices for any game in Vegas?
Yeah, they're ridiculous there. Yeah.
Talk to me about Vegas in about 5 years when the ticket prices go down to something resembling normal.
Yeah.
That's true. That's
Of the top like 5 games, I think Raiders have 3 or 4 of them. So
yeah, and one of them is
most
us.
Expensive. Is it? Of course. Yeah.
Because it's I looked at Chiefs tickets for like the second the date was announced. I looked at tickets for that game, and they were $1,000 before like 4 seconds after release, and they only got more expensive as they went.
Yep.
Yeah. So I see
like,
you got a nice little, Tyrann Mathieu jersey on right now. Do you remember your first Chiefs jersey?
Actually, my first Chiefs jersey was Priest Holmes.
Hey, we were just talking about him. We're both Texas fans, and I totally forgot he actually went to Texas. And Duran,
he's the second best running back to come out of Texas to play for the Chiefs.
We know the first one.
Oh yeah, we do.
Well, we might get to him in a little bit. Do you have any other memorabilia? Do you have like a holy grail item?
I've got this Super Bowl run. After the Super Bowl, I went a little
yes. Let's hear
nuts.
Did some to your bank account?
Yeah. We've got some incredible artists in the kingdom. A whole bunch of them that do Chiefs artwork. So I've got pieces from probably 5 or 6 of the different artists in the kingdom that they've done.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that.
I've got probably, let's see. I'm wearing Tyrann's jersey because I'm trying to manifest a contract signing today. Let's get this out and done with here. So partially a little bit selfishly because I'm supposed to record a podcast tomorrow and I would like to have some content.
Yes.
There you go.
So manifesting the Tyrann Mathieu extension right now for this jersey, but I've got my Mahomes jersey, obviously. I got Travis. I had to get a Le'Veon Bell jersey for one specific reason. The wife has a Taco Charlton jersey. She loved. Second we signed him, she wanted the jersey. So I got her a custom 94 jersey that says Taco on the back, not Charlton.
Yeah. What was she? A Michigan fan or something?
Nope. Likes tacos. Not us.
Okay,
Nothing at all to do with anything else. She saw him wearing his taco chain, the pendant chain that he has.
I've seen it.
That was it. Sold. Done.
So Duran, you're a Cowboys
jersey, and I had to get the Bell jersey. So now when we wear them out, it's Taco Bell.
There you go. Actually, okay, I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So Duran, I would never have bought a Taco or Le'Veon Bell jersey.
That's beautiful.
Never. Yeah. I would have bought it, and I'm getting Damian Williams. I haven't had it yet. So
there you go.
Sorry, Mr. Super Bowl hero, but I don't have yours yet. You opted out, and then I couldn't find your damn jersey anywhere.
Yep.
Okay.
Custom one.
So Duran, you're a Cowboys fan. How do you feel about Taco?
You know, we had our ups and downs with Taco, but honestly, I don't think he's too bad of a player. I mean, probably not a first round dude, but he plays his part well for the Chiefs.
I hope he stays healthy. We need him to stay healthy on the edge this year. He was really good for us last year before he got hurt, and then he got hurt. We suffered on the edge.
Yeah, he only did bad in Dallas. He went to Miami and he did decent there too. So
I like me some Taco. I've been on that bandwagon since they picked him up. I also liked Charvarius Ford when we got him from you guys too, though. So I'm happy so far with our additions from this time from the Cowboys, because last time we came and got corners from y'all, I wanted to throw myself off a bridge. Yeah,
he also stole our linebackers.
Yep.
Hitchens and Damian
Mr.
Wilson.
Hitchens. I do very much appreciate Anthony Hitchens. Most of Chiefs Kingdom will tell you that they don't like Anthony Hitchens. I am of the almost opposite opinion on that.
Hitchens, he's an Iowa boy, right? Iowa?
I think so.
I'm not sure. Iowa.
I think he's from Iowa.
I liked him. I like Damian Wilson too. I like both of them when they were on Dallas, but Wilson's
Damian
gone
was
now.
less of my favorite.
Yeah,
he has some limitations. He's a pretty much he's a one-dimensional linebacker, but he filled his role. He did his job.
Exactly. Yep, he did it. Who do you consider the Chiefs' number one rival? See, because I think you guys dominate your division, so
that's why it's so hard.
Yeah,
that
so
used to
you
be
might
an
have
easy
to go
question.
Out. Yeah,
it used to be an easy question because it used to be the Raiders.
Yeah,
everybody hates the Raiders. It's just the way it is if you're a Chiefs fan. Let's see that out of the way. So I guess if you're gonna go with the rival, like hatred wise, predominantly long term, it's Oakland. It's Oakland, Vegas, whatever you want to call them. I don't care anymore. The Raiders. Now,
there you go.
Currently, Tom Brady.
Yeah.
There you
okay.
Go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't really care where he's at, but that's basically the only guy that's beaten Mahomes is him, and in any game that really matters anyway. I mean, Derek Carr can take his bus lap from week 5, but
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
that makes sense. So what's your game day setup looking like when you're watching the game? Do you watch it alone? Do you live tweet? Do you go to a bar?
You got any rituals?
It depends on the day. Depends on the game because our schedule is not set. It used to be noon Sunday, couch, boom, done, right there. Now we play so often at either 3:00 or 7:30 or Monday or Thursday that it's kind of messed with everything as far as the set structure of how I used to do it. So anywhere I can at this point, but when it's like big games, like for example, the Super Bowl that we won, I watched it with 5 people. I waited way too long to have 150 people around me distracting me during the biggest game of the franchise's history.
They had to be real fans.
I needed people that knew that I was, if y'all wanted to have a conversation, you could have it. I wasn't probably going to be a part of it.
Of course, yeah. Well,
so that was how I did the Super Bowl. I watched the Houston game solo that year.
That was a good game. Yeah.
The first quarter, I literally sat on the first. No, I didn't even move. Like I just didn't blink. I was just like, okay, this is what we do in the playoffs. Here we go again. What do you know? And then he kicked the field goal, and I went, oh, that's a wrap.
Yep. That was kind of a theme for that year's playoffs for you guys. I mean,
soon as Bill O'Brien kicked the field goal, up 21-0 with a half a yard to get, after taking a timeout, I was like, shouldn't have done that.
Yep.
That was it. As the second that he made that decision, my immediate reaction was, okay, we're good. This game's on. We got 3 quarters left.
Yeah. And I think you guys caught up by halftime.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
We were ahead at half.
Yep, exactly.
And they scored 7 points the rest of the game after they kicked that field goal.
Mm-hmm. G, anything else for how it started?
Nothing else how it started. No, I can't think of anything, to be honest with you.
You got it. Let's move on a little bit.
All right. So we like to guess your favorite player. So me and Duran have been talking before we actually started, but
past or present?
All time.
Well then that should be interesting then.
Okay. All right, you got me thinking now.
Yeah.
Got me thinking.
You got some options because I'm 30 years into this and
okay.
Favorite of all time, and I'll even give you a hint. 15 is not him yet. He ain't there yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That wasn't even my guess. He wasn't actually even in my top 5 of guesses, to be honest.
Yeah, he is not there yet. As much as he is going to be the best player to ever play in our uniform, and if he isn't already, he's not there yet. For me.
There you go.
I'm gonna go ahead and go with you said you gave me some background. You said you were a hockey player. Someone likes to hit, and I'm gonna go with Tamba Hali.
Okay, Tamba. I'll go with DJ Derek Johnson.
You're both on the right side of the ball.
Okay.
You got the right first name, but you didn't get the right last name, Mr. Derek Thomas.
Derek Thomas. Okay.
Derek Thomas, Mr. 5'8".
Yeah.
That was the man. That is the dude I grew up with that made me a Chiefs fan after I was old enough to like make that decision after I was already born into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the solidifying dude for me. That man unfortunately cut way too short. in my opinion, he would have gone down as the best defensive football player to ever play the game if he would have played his whole career.
Yeah. I mean, you might have to fill us in a little, or me. I don't know about G, but the Chiefs weren't on TV as much when I was growing up. But I do know Derek Thomas, of course, passed away in a car accident in 2000. Yep. But is there one thing that kind of stands out to you? It could either be a play or just his career, his style, anything like that.
What he did to Elway in Denver, and the way that that man could change a game in a snap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he was one of the most destructive forces on a football field you've ever seen. Just one of the most gifted human beings that have ever touched the field. If you listen to people talk about how like he practiced and how he didn't work like all these other dudes that are like killing themselves. He was just a freak, man.
Yeah.
It's just natural to him.
Oh yeah. Like breathing.
Yeah.
And physicality, dominant attitude. No, he embodied everything that it was to be a part of that Chiefs defense in the 90s.
Yeah. If you go on YouTube, you could watch John Gruden talk about him. And John Gruden just talks about how amazing of a player he just talks. If there was a player that I was going to build to play that position, it'd be Derek Thomas. And
you didn't have to build him.
Yeah, he was a real life guy.
It's like you have to. I love it when you have one of those players on your side that the offensive coordinator has to, program around. Like you guys had it with Derek Thomas. I think you guys have it with even Chris Jones. Like you can't really run up the middle with that guy.
Yeah.
So I think that's so awesome to have that special type of player. I mean, we had the linebacker like that with Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman.
That dude was a monster.
Mm-hmm.
Then Dallas, they had it with plethora of their guys.
I'll tell you this: Patrick Willis is probably the closest I think I've ever seen to Derek Thomas.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean he's getting his number retired today. I think they have the state of the franchise that starts at 7, so I think he's getting his number retired. So that'd be awesome.
Well deserved.
That dude was. I used to watch Niners games just to watch him play linebacker.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No other reason to watch Niners game, just to watch him play linebacker.
Yeah. What I remember,
Frank Gore.
Yeah, he's still playing. I mean, if he's a free agent right now, he's still available.
Frank Gore's gonna play longer than Tom Brady.
So we got so back to Derek Thomas. I mean, if I remember correctly, he was a Bama boy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he was a Bama boy. He was drafted in I think early 90s, late 80. Yeah, I think
90.
I think he was 90, maybe 89.
Uh-oh.
Now you're gonna make me look.
I think he was drafted in 89. I want to say because I remember like watching him when I was super young and saying like he was drafted in 89. I remember Durant was born in 89, so I made the comparison like,
no problem.
For those of y'all, 1989, pick number 4.
There. Pick number 4.
Oh, pick number 4. Damn, I didn't realize he was picked that high.
Yeah,
he so obviously he's been a beast his whole career. I watched just recently his 7-sack game versus the Seahawks.
Yeah.
And it just dominating, of course, and I'm pretty sure that's when they interviewed the John Gruden. That's where he got his quote afterward, just talking about him. But Jesus Christ,
his career
him and Neil Smith on a line together was just nightmare fuel.
That's what I usually ask: is if he was Batman, who was his Robin? You'd say it was Neil Smith.
Oh yeah, Neil Smith is arguably, outside of Derek Thomas, arguably the best Chiefs defensive lineman that's ever played with the roster. And they had guys like Jared Allen, Chris Jones.
Oh, I forgot that Jared Allen. Yeah,
Jared Allen was a monster in Kansas City long before he was in Minnesota.
I love Jared Allen, man. He was he would just seem like such an awesome, genuine dude. I mean,
one of my favorite players to ever play for the team because he was absolutely that. He was 100% genuine with the fans, with his interviews. Anytime you ever listen to that man talk, he was an awesome dude.
Yeah. To this day.
Back to Derek Thomas, his career highlights. I mean, 9-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first team All-Pro, 3-time second team All-Pro, Walter Payton Man of the Year, NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year in 89. NFL sack leader in 90, NFL all-decade team for the 90s, 100 sack club, and college. In college, you mean he had the Buckus Award winner and unanimous All-American in 1988. And I mean, obviously he had his number retired in Kansas City. So
Yeah,
Should be a Pro Football Hall of Famer too, but he's not yet.
Wow.
I think he is.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. They put him in after. I think it was posthumously because it had to be because it was during his playing career when he passed. But,
Okay. Yeah.
It took long. I retract that statement. He is one. I was just mad about how long it took to get him actually in after he passed. That is the correct statement.
Anytime about the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I'm always a bitter one because I still believe Roger Craig belongs into it, and he's
you're right.
Not. But
I would agree with you on that.
Yeah, man, it's crazy how long it takes to you to get that. I mean, we can go on for days. Like, is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer? You know, like they're gonna put him in.
We probably shouldn't talk about some of these cases.
Yeah, exactly.
you say may not love my take on Eli.
Yeah. Do you have a player in Chiefs history that you feel like was a little bit underrated? Want to give a little shine to?
The most underrated Chiefs player of all time is the best running back to come out of Texas in the history is Jamal Charles.
Jamal, okay. Yeah, we love Jamal Charles. We've watched him since his days in at Texas. But I mean, as far as team records goes, he's number 1 in rushing yards, number 4 in touchdowns in Chiefs history. And that 2013 year, he was number 1 in reception yards, and reception touchdowns. So I mean, he did it on both sides of the ball. I know his yards per carry is one of the greatest of all time.
The best in NFL history.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
And it's insane to me that I constantly every offseason have to listen to people fight about whether or not Priest Holmes or Jamal Charles is better. First of all, both great. Second of all, not that close.
Yeah.
Priest had Priest had one of the best 3-year stretches in league history. Okay. That's awesome. That's fantastic. Go look at Jamal Charles's 5 seasons together, and they're better.
Yeah, of course. No,
and he did it with a line that was made up of matchsticks and no quarterback. Priest Holmes had arguably the best offensive line ever, and a quarterback to go with it.
There you go. And
very true.
I know we talked about Jared Allen a little bit ago, but
Jared Allen's one other one that's underrated, and the third one and probably the main one on the offensive side of the ball outside of Jamal is Dwayne Bowe. Because nobody gives Dwayne Bowe love.
LSU guy.
I think Dwayne Bowe. Yeah, Dwayne Bowe and Jamal Charles, those two guys, you know, they played together for a while, and yeah, they were nothing.
Dwayne Bowe was catching passes from guys named Tyler Palco, and
I don't even remember that name.
Yeah, there's a reason.
But
he didn't have a quarterback, and he led the team with 16 touchdowns and led the NFL one season. Like
describe Dwayne Bowe in one word is consistent, because I had him on my fantasy football teams, and that guy would always get me like points no matter what. He
may drop a couple, but he's going to get 14 targets. So it don't matter.
Yep.
I wanted to bring up Jared Allen though, because you guys wouldn't have had Jamal Charles without Jared Allen. The trade.
Correct.
You guys traded Jared Allen to Minnesota, and that's what ended up getting you that extra pick for Jamal Charles.
It is indeed, and that's one of the other things that Jared Allen did for that franchise. Give us Jamal Charles.
Yeah. Gee, anything else for players?
Yeah. Is there a player that you just absolutely did not like for the Chiefs that you're like, damn, why is this
Orlando Scandrick?
There you go.
You kind of think of course I'm familiar with Orlando too. Do you kind of feel like he was, to me, it seemed like he was pushing for that, the media career after football, where he kind of
the boy was burnt toast in our uniform.
Of course, yeah, yeah, you got him.
And then he had the nerve to go on TV and try to act like he wasn't part of the worst defense in NFL history. Yeah. My favorite thing Shannon Sharp has ever done was flame Orlando Scandrick on First Take to the point where I ain't seen that man on TV since. Yeah. And good.
Yeah, everyone saw it. I mean, he was
the stupidest thing I've ever heard out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And then he had to be reminded by a Denver Bronco tight end that you were on that team, dog.
Yep. Yeah, he was definitely
Matter
horrible.
Of fact, you were the corner most responsible for the most touchdown passes that season.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
That dude, between him and Steven Nelson, those two, goodbye.
Okay, Steven Nelson.
I don't got nothing else to deal with y'all ever again. Goodbye.
Good answers. Gee, anything else?
No, nothing else. I don't know what minute we're on here, but I'm just still surprised we haven't mentioned Tony Gonzalez.
Oh yeah.
Second best tight end ever.
Oh, he was one of my favorites. I love that guy.
You have Kelsey above him? Okay.
Sure do.
There
and I
go.
love Tony Gonzalez is my second jersey of all time.
There you go.
And I love me some Tony G. But Tony Gonzalez will tell you who the better tight end between the two of them is.
So what is that because? Is that because, Tony Gonzalez was a specialty tight end? I feel like Travis Kelsey is the all-round, Travis you can put him anywhere, everything.
Travis does what Tony did better that Tony did best better than Tony did it. That's why for me.
Okay.
But what about when it comes to the running game? I mean, I feel like Tony was a better blocker.
Most underrated portion of Travis Kelsey's game is his blocking.
Blocking, yeah. I think and
Kelsey's it's a narrative that was and I love George Kittle, and he is a better blocker. Don't take anything what I'm getting ready to say the wrong way.
Best availability, though. I have Kelsey number one.
Kelsey's been available all but one season, his rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason that the blocking thing ever became a narrative about Travis Kelsey is because Patriots fans felt threatened because he was better than Gronk.
Yeah, I don't think he's a bad blocker. I see him in there getting dirty.
That was what his specialty was coming out of Cincinnati. He wasn't supposed to be this good catching the football.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I feel you.
And he's arguably the most polished route runner in tight end history.
Oh yeah, I loved seeing it. Him, and Kittle out there at tight end U.
That tight end U is going to turn the tight end position into some scary things. People aren't paying attention enough to tight end U, TEU, and those boys. Look, man, the tight end position is going to be the next position that changes how this game is played. And you've already started to see it with what they do with Travis. It's just going to be an evolution.
One thing I do like too is that every single time that Kelsey or Kittle's talking, a guy in the background that's like right next to them is Irv Smith Jr. And I was like, dude, this guy's gonna have a breakout year, So
he figured it out. Oh wait, those are the two best at the position by a comfortable margin, and they're out here handing out knowledge for free. Let me go ahead and grab some of that.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you even got Darren Waller out there, who's arguably like top 5.
He's the third tight end in the league for me, and now it's 1, 2, and then 3, but he's still the third best tight end in the league for me.
He's a mismatch, dude. I love watching that guy play. I mean, yeah, he plays for the Raiders, which is a team I don't like. I'm not.
Imagine how hard that is for me.
Oh yeah. But man, yeah. So anyway, let's go on to. We talked about your favorite player, so we want to know your favorite coach. We're not going to guess, so we just want to hear from you.
We know it.
That's so difficult because I grew up on Marty and Dick Vermeil, and Dick Vermeil is one of the most real, genuine, awesome coaches like ever. People don't give that man enough credit for how good of a coach he was, but also how incredible, like just a person he was to the
I've
players.
been to his winery.
He is an A+ citizen and dude before anything else. If you would have asked me this question probably 2 years ago, it would have been Dick Vermeil. But
he's cool. I liked it.
It's the Kool-Aid man.
Yeah.
Yep.
I actually his nephew was my football coach in high school, so it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. Dick Vermeil is one of the most genuine, real dude. Like, and there's stories all the time. He's notorious for crying, and that dude cries every day. Like that's just what he does. Yeah. Whether he's angry or whether he's happy or whether he's sad, or like because we get the benefit now in Chiefs Kingdom with this franchise being so built into its former players that a lot of them with this podcast world have their own pods and stuff.
Yeah.
To where we get to hear these stories and stuff now about these guys. And it's incredible to listen to. You get to hear of all the good stuff and all the bad stuff.
Yeah.
But was your answer Andy?
It is Andy. Now it is Andy. 2017, 2000, probably still 18. It would probably still have been Vermeil, but 3 straight AFC titles, appearances, 2 straight AFC championship wins, a Super Bowl victory, back-to-back Super Bowl appearances.
Yep.
Changed the complete culture and franchise when he got here. Because like I told you guys earlier, Todd Haley tried to take a 60-year franchise and blow it up.
Yeah. I know you mentioned Dick Vermeil. The reason why I knew it was going to be, it's just the postseason success. They got over the hump. They got the job done. And like you said, if you would ask me 2 years ago, I might have had a different answer. But now that Andy's done it and you see the benefits of having him as a coach.
And what he's done for the city since he's been in the city too. They're not. He's not a coach and not a person in the town. Like some coaches, you guys know this. Everybody knows this that watches the league. Some of these dudes are there to collect a check in that city, and then they go back to California or they go back to there and they go do. That man's in Kansas City like 360 days a year.
Nice.
He's first of all, he is at the facility before God thought about waking up. He's in. Peter King did a ride along with him. They were at the building at like 3:30 in the morning, and that's every day.
Oh, shit.
Damn.
Wow.
He's like that every day.
Wow.
Peter King's probably like, this motherfucker has me
Yeah.
He's like, it's just Andy, man. That's what he does. But and what he's meant to the city, what they've done around the city, they're super involved in the community. That's the other thing I really love about the Chiefs is this whole organization is super involved. The players get it, the ownership gets it, the coaching staff understands it, the business team operations. It's a whole unit, and if you don't have that, you don't have a franchise that operates like this. So it's been a blessing to get him in Kansas City. Dumbest thing the Eagles ever did, and I've stood on that hill before they fired him, and I will stand on it afterwards, letting that man go.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad
they won a Super Bowl afterwards, and I'm still telling you it was the stupidest thing they've done because they won a Super Bowl with his disciple that they came and got from him in Kansas City.
Well, I remember him in Philly, and now that he's in Kansas City, I feel like, I think winning definitely helps, but he just seems a little bit more animated in recent years. Do you have a favorite Andy Reid moment? And I'm just going to put out there, mine's his punt, pass, and kick footage.
That comes up so every time that Andy Reid is
every Monday night.
Yeah, I know. Every year.
And it just looks like and that picture is still like we talked earlier. I talked to you guys I think a little bit before the show. I think it was before the show that I talked about it, but there's a picture of Chris Jones, Clyde, and Tyreek standing next to each other, and that's what that photo looks like. It just looks like it's like he's not even supposed to be out there.
Yeah, I know. Whose dad is out there?
Whose dad's this?
And the story goes that they had to go get pads out of the professional locker room that fit him because they didn't have anything that fit him.
Wow. Wow.
So awesome. But Andy probably him winning the Super Bowl was my favorite memory of him specifically. Just that seeing that relief essentially, and him finally get what he earned, and he's earned for so long because he's been banged on and hated on, and he's too stupid to manage the clock and this and that. No, guys, it's really simple. Did he have a Hall of Fame quarterback or not?
No.
It's not like I like Bill Belichick a whole lot. And maybe this year he proves that it wasn't all Tom Brady, but I'll tell you what, he better do something this year because if they come out and suck again, that narrative is going to get harder and harder to sell. Yep. Now he's got one playoff appearance in 7 years that he hasn't had Tom Brady.
Yeah. Yep, I believe that.
So
I did go back and watch, just watching Jamal Charles stuff, and Andy Reid's, I know he gets a lot of recognition for his offense now, but he's been doing a lot of these weird formations, motions, wishbone type stuff. And I noticed it with the Jamal Charles stuff, man. It's those two guys together running the ball, Jamal Charles with his talent, of course, Andy Reid calling the plays. It pretty amazing.
You got a small glimpse of what it would have looked like if Andy would have had him in his prime when they had Kareem at the beginning.
Oh yeah. Yep.
That's what it would have kind of looked like, except it would have been on steroids.
Yeah. And he led the league in rushing that year.
If there's a player that I got to go back and pluck from a Chiefs roster to add to this roster, and it's not named Derek Thomas, it's Jamal Charles. And it's because of what Andy Reid could do with Jamal Charles in this offense. It's just insane.
Yeah. And
people are like, well, how that wouldn't even be feasible. Why? You know what round they drafted Jamal in?
Third.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know what round they drafted Clyde in?
First.
Second. Was it first?
End of first.
Last pick of the
32.
First. Okay. Yeah. Yep. The last
not all that far out. And Jamal, man, the screen game that they could. Oh my God, that's probably my favorite memory / story is when the Chiefs played the Raiders, and he screen gamed them into oblivion.
Yeah.
The Chiefs, Jeff Allen and Jeff Schwartz, both former linemen on that team with him at the time, tell the story. They were telling the Raiders what play was coming, and there was nothing they could do about it.
Was that the 5 touchdown game?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
They were telling them.
Yep.
And then laughing at them as they ran the play, knowing that there was nothing that they could do to stop him.
Yeah. He had 195 yards receiving that game, 202 rushing, and that screen game unstoppable.
397 total yards, 5 touchdowns, and it was like the third quarter. I don't even think he played in the fourth.
Yeah. Yep. The last 2 things I want to say about Andy Reid before we move on is his coaching tree is becoming one of the best in the league. It's
the largest, I think, in the league now, and I don't think it's close. And I think success-wise, if you look at the guys that stem from it,
Todd Bowles, Childress, Frazier, Dick Duran, John Harbaugh, Sean McDermott, who we know is doing his thing, Marty Morningwig, Nagy, Doug Peterson, Ron Rivera, who I love, Pat Shurmur, Steve Spagnuolo. I mean, it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. We know you guys got some coaches up and coming that should get a head coaching job here pretty soon. And then, maybe. And then his draft history is pretty crazy. I mean, you guys have hit on a lot of picks leading up to this Super Bowl from Fisher, Kelsey, D Ford, Duvernay Tardif, who we know missed last year, but Marcus Peters, Chris Conley, Chris Jones, Tyreek Hill, Hardman, Pat Mahomes, of course, Kareem Hunt, Derek Nonni, and Juan Thornhill. I mean, these guys, they're killing it on all sides, from coaching staff to draft picks, and that's what you need to win a Super Bowl. That
leaves out Willie Gay and Snead, who was a 4th round theft. That dude, if you go look at redrafts now, like they go back, everybody, they go back and do, well, how would this draft have worked out? I think he's like pick 7 instead of a 4th rounder.
Yeah, the guy's
got that jersey too. I had to go ahead and grab that. I typically don't get rookie jerseys, but that one I was like, he's gonna be here for a minute, so we're just go ahead and take care of that.
Yeah.
But no, you're 100% right, and some of that is in Veach. Brett Veach has earned his stripes to the T's. He's been Andy Reid's personal assistant basically since Philly, and now he's the GM. Obviously, he worked his way. His story is incredible. If you've never heard Brett Veach's history story, go that dude. Anybody that thinks he got it given to where he's at, go look at the work that man put in. He's very qualified to be where he is, and he's showing you. People, I mean, we had $171 in cap space, and then we spent $700 million.
Yeah. So we talked about your favorite coach. I mean, I think it goes without saying that who your least favorite coach is.
Yeah, that's not really hard.
That dude said it, I think.
That dude is
Romeo Cornell.
No, man, I love Romeo.
No, I'm just kidding.
Romeo,
we all know
Romeo. I know, but that's the thing. But people bang on Romeo, and that's not fair to Romeo. Romeo got stuck and I know y'all don't care about the customer, but pardon my French. He got stuck a shit deal in Kansas City to take over that team from Todd Haley, who literally was getting in fights on the sideline with players.
Yeah.
Who was, by all accounts, from literally everyone that played there with that man, a cancer. In that franchise, anywhere he's been, he's just awful. And now they've got him coaching high school students. I'm like, who signed off on that?
I was gonna say he's not even in the league anymore, right? Like he came from Arizona and just
he pissed Big Ben off.
Yeah.
How do you?
Yeah.
He can't even throw the ball down the field anymore, and you managed to make him mad. How is that possible?
Yeah, it's just, he also had a stint with the Browns, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because I remember him on Hard Knocks, and I want to say,
and that was when we all found out exactly what Todd Haley was behind the doors.
Yeah, and I've been hearing.
There were rumors. There were always rumors in Kansas City about how much of a pain in the ass he was, but there was never really any veritable proof to it. His press conferences were always a little iffy, but he never just came out and showed his ass.
Yeah.
Hard Knocks showed you exactly what that man is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we don't got to spend too much time on him.
I have no love lost for Todd Haley at all. None.
I believe that.
Yeah, Todd Haley. See you later. Have fun coaching high school. We give a shit. But all right.
Exactly.
So, we want to know your absolute favorite memory as a Chiefs fan.
I could guess.
Oh,
Todd Haley left. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Oh man,
the moment you
favorite?
guys were all waiting for.
Yeah,
it's probably Holtis's call for Damian Williams when he finishes it.
Oh,
the end run.
Okay, but
just that, as far as like monumental moment that we've been waiting for forever.
Yeah,
that was the culmination. I guess the real moment is that Texans game where they flipped the whole script and narrative. That was the moment where I knew, like, the Titans game, I didn't even blink. Like, I was never worried when we were behind. Not when. That sounds probably strange to a lot of people. Never worried. And no offense to the Niners, was never concerned.
Okay.
Was never concerned. Like, if I was at like 7 minutes left, and I'm like, he still got at least time for 2 more possessions, if not 3. We got all kinds of time, even if we give up 3 points here. Yeah. Now, I caught my breath when Jimmy threw that ball to Emmanuel, but the second I saw it leave his hand, I was like, nope, we good.
Overthrow. Yep.
Like, sitting there watching after that Houston game, I was like, he's never out of a game.
Can you give me your honest opinion? So when you guys first drafted him, what was your take on that?
So when we drafted him, first of all, I knew there was no way Andy moved up 17 spots to go get somebody he didn't think was going to be good.
Yeah.
And Andy's a quarterback whisperer, right? Like, that's his MO forever. He made Kevin Cobb money at some point. Like, he's
even like a savior. I mean, he saved Vic, you know what I mean?
Michael Vick's career. Like, Donovan McNabb is mentioned in conversation for the Hall of Fame when he never should be, because Andy Reid was his coach and he helped him. They went to so many NFC title games. Like, I love Donovan. That man's not a Hall of Famer.
No.
But he turned guys, like I said, Kevin Cobb, Nick Foles, Alex Smith, Ty Detmer, Michael Vick. So when he takes a bunch of dudes that everybody else just gets rid of and he just ends up with and turns them into something, when he goes out and trades up and gives up a future first and goes out to get a quarterback, first of all, I thought they were going to get Deshaun Watson when it first happened, when he was still on the board. I thought it was for Deshaun. But when it was Mahomes, I was like, yep, that's the future. And they got to see something, because Andy's not going to give up. If he thinks he can make a quarterback out of a 7th round dude who no one gives a crap about, he's not going to go spend draft capital on a guy unless he thinks it's worth it.
Yeah. And at the time, I mean, all Pat Mahomes was pretty much traits. Like, he's got this, he's got that. And
you go back and you watch, and as soon as we drafted him, I went back and so the game that everybody talks about now and remembers is the Baker Mayfield, Oklahoma, Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Where they threw for like 1,700 yards and
over 100 points.
Touchdowns.
Yeah.
And if you go look at those two rosters, Baker Mayfield's playing with an all-star team, and Patrick Mahomes is playing with you and I at wide receiver.
Yeah. So
they were never out of that game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if they're playing against you, and I mean, I'm a 1st round draft pick. Just kidding. I'm not even in the league. I'm not even in Arena Football League. But anyway, he was, I think he was like all traits, and
his
especially
mind
hearing
is most
after
expensive.
Like, he had a year to sit behind Alex Smith, and him even admitting himself, like, he was a man, I didn't even know how to read defenses. And that was pretty crazy. And Alex Smith he is another coach on the team. That's why Jim Harbaugh kept them after the lockout, because how smart he was. Being that he's able to talk to Pat Mahomes at lunch every single day, like the rumors are said, and pretty much the stories, they're not rumors. So it's like,
they're confirmed now.
Oh yeah. And it's just awesome to see, like, man, like, this guy who has all these traits to, like, learn from Andy Reid and Alex Smith, just like, hey man, you gotta, you got your teacher, then you got a tutor. Like, how great is that? And pretty much
you're right about him being raw.
Yeah.
Super raw.
Raw talent.
Now, the thing that most people don't realize is that his ability to mentally process things has always been insane. And that was one thing that stood out even in college, is his ability to mentally process and read a defense, because he can say he couldn't read defenses in the NFL, but sort of. Yeah, you weren't going up to the line and Peyton Manning picking them apart before the snap, or Tom Brady killing them before the snap in year one. You're right. That's this year and last year, and that's what's coming. That's the part that should concern everybody, is he wasn't doing that yet. He was doing the processing after the ball was snapped in a time frame where you're not supposed to be able to mentally process squat in the NFL. You're supposed to just react.
It took Aaron Rodgers quite a while too. Like even I think it was third year starting to learn how to read defenses the way Peyton Manning did, reading from like the defensive lineman, then further up. But with Pat Mahomes, I feel like one thing that me and Duran always look at too when we're looking at people coming out is like their bloodlines, and being that he came from, somebody who's already been in the limelight, and he's been around that, he's been around the fame. So he's very comfortable around it. And he just, his composure was never shook. And that was something I always, admired about it. Like
having a top two NFL arm in the league also helps too.
It does.
It's either him or Aaron Rodgers. Do you want power or accuracy? And
and those are getting closer and closer and closer together on both fronts. And Aaron's going to lose some of that arm strength eventually. So my thing with Pat is, and G, you mentioned it, and you're 100% right. And I think the reason you've seen him handle being this just exploding sensation star and not have, because sometimes when these guys become stars, you get skeletons that fly out of closets. Deshaun Watson, unfortunately, right now dealing with skeletons flying out of closets. Some of these guys, you hear these things and you've never heard a negative word about the kid ever from anybody. And
you hear nothing but great. He just bought into the Royals. You hear nothing but great things from the kid.
And it's, I think a large part of it is, in fact, that he grew up in a major league locker room with guys like Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez and these mega super freaking giant that he grew up around these dudes.
Yeah, it's not new to him.
The maturity level and the mental processing, and you're right, it's just a different level with him. He is literally built to be a face of a league, unlike something we haven't seen probably since LeBron.
Yeah. I mean, just especially like last year in the Super Bowl, like, even though he was running for his life his whole time, he was still
broke on a destroyed foot.
Even he was still 100% composed, just like okay with everything. I mean, to the point where he was throwing completely horizontal, just like he was Derek Jeter, throwing sideways from shortstop. How amazing that throw was. I mean, I think it was Pringle or Robinson that dropped it, but man, that hit you right in the face, dog.
Hit him in the face mask.
Yeah.
And it was actually our running back, but yes.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. 40 yards downfield in the end zone on it from a horizontal plane in his teeth. Yes.
Yeah.
The stuff that the kid does, and people don't, first of all, he had surgically repaired turf toe directly after that game.
And he had the knee issue.
Dislocated his knee, which I still think the kid's. My thing with him is he's I call him Gumby. He's so malleable and like his body doesn't react the way that everybody else's does.
Yeah.
Seems to be able to avoid injuries that would like end dude seasons somehow. And it's I hope it continues. That's all I'm going to say on that front. Nobody seeing him, and it's not good for the league if he's out, obviously, but obviously, and as a Chiefs fan, it would really suck, but it's just, you don't ever want to see guys go down, but like to be able to avoid catastrophe with those injuries has been huge, obviously.
Yeah. Well, we know that you don't always get to win the Super Bowl. Do you have a worse memory being a Chiefs fan?
The Colts playoff game.
Oh,
we were up.
We know this.
We were up almost 30 points, and then our whole team got hurt.
38-10.
What everybody forgets about during that 38-10 comeback that Peyton Manning pulled off was that we lost 7 starters on defense and 4 on offense in a matter of like 7 plays. And then they were playing a bunch of backups to make the comeback. If the Chiefs stay remotely on either side of the football, that game doesn't ever make a comeback.
That game like emulates like the Niners last year. Like I know your pain. And to see that, like I remember being like frustrated, like, come on, like this isn't a real win, because I remember the Colts winning, like you said, against a bunch of backups. And it was frustrating to see for me as a fan of football, not even a fan of the Chiefs. So I can't even imagine.
That sucked so bad last year watching that offensive line be literally made up of guys 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 on the depth chart. Like, and I say that because they weren't really that, but they were that because they were that after they were moved out of position. So, Andrew Wiley was our backup right guard, and he's playing right tackle, which is like his 5th spot on the depth chart.
Yeah, that's hard to play. I mean, it's always easier to move in and move out on the offensive line. You
got Mike Rimmers, who's already been embarrassed once in a Super Bowl in Carolina on the left side, has to go now play the one spot where he's not comfortable. And it showed. And you just had no help. I mean, the ball was snapped and they were in his face. He had no prayer. And he still ran for almost 500 yards behind the line of scrimmage before throwing the ball. And he still, if any of those passes get caught, that game may look different because the score never changed. But there were 3 touchdowns that were dropped. Just flat out dropped on plays that probably shouldn't have been touchdowns if Mahomes isn't the quarterback, but he is, so they should have been caught and they weren't.
Yeah.
So it was extraordinarily frustrating to watch. I also thought they were going to do more scheme wise, but when you go back and really look at it, there was nothing they could have schemed. They were just getting smoked off the line. So yeah, it was awful. That was the most frustrating 3.5 hours of my life, probably. Just sitting there going, and it wasn't like mad. I was just frustrated. Like, this would not be happening at all. If Eric Fisher, Achilles, holds up through Buffalo and he plays in the Super Bowl, it was a totally different game.
Yeah. I don't mean to keep bringing up bad memories, but Derek Johnson versus Marcus Mariota. I know you remember the wild card game. Yeah.
The worst call in NFL history.
Yeah, I believe it. For those that don't remember, Derek Johnson had a wide open lane right through the middle. He blitzed. He hit Marcus Mariota for a sack. It was clearly a sack.
He hit Marcus Mariota so hard his soul left his body.
Yeah, and it was bad. I think they called it a forward progress rule, which I don't even know how that could happen. What'd they call it?
Which made it unreviewable, by the way.
Oh, okay. That's what it was. Yeah. Which made it unreviewable, but it was clearly a sack fumble. Yeah, it was clearly a sack fumble. I mean, if you go back and watch it right now, you'll be amazed that they even called it for it. But he wasn't even running the ball.
That was Jeff Triplett, and he retired.
Oh, there.
5 minutes after that game.
Yep. He needed to, because that was a bad one. I love Derek Johnson. He never got his the postseason success that he deserved. So when I saw that, especially Derek Johnson being the guy making the play, that's definitely a heartbreaker.
I told you DT and JC would be the 2 guys. DJ was the guy after Derek Thomas that I would bring back to play with this roster, because him in the middle was something different, man.
Yeah. Yep. Last bad memory actually was about Derek Thomas. We know he passed away in 2000. Do you remember where you were, how you heard about it, exactly how that all went down for you? I know he was your favorite player too.
Sitting upstairs with my dad. It got announced on on another football game. I think it was a Monday night game or something. It came across the TV. And we didn't believe it. Like, no way. Yeah. So I was sitting upstairs in the living room with my dad watching a Monday night game, and I think it was the Monday night game or the Sunday night game. It was because it was after a game, if I'm not mistaken, or they were on a bye week that week.
Yeah, he was traveling.
And got the news, and it rocked the house for a while. That sucked a lot.
Yeah, that was a very unfortunate. That's it was just one
of those things. Just wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and something crazy fluke happened, and you lost one of the best players to ever play the game.
Hey, moment of silence for DT, man. All right, cheers to DT.
Cheers to DT. And players, we lose players, from time to time, but especially like during the season, and so it's that was just on a whole nother level where you don't expect that stuff to happen.
Yeah, it's like growing up. Like that's one of the players I would remember watching like growing up, and like you're like thinking this guy's like a superhero because he's in the NFL, and like damn, like he died because of car crash.
Yeah,
That's something like you don't really, you know what I mean? Like it just, I remember it hit different because I'm like, damn, I remember watching that guy just destroy people.
Yep. G, you ready? You ready to move on to future expectations?
Oh yeah, I'm ready to move on to future expectations for sure.
Let's go. So we want to hear about your future expectations for your team. I mean, we want to start first with the draft. Just in the first couple rounds, you had 2 second-rounders, Nick Bolton, the linebacker out of Mizzou, Creed Humphrey, the offensive lineman out of Oklahoma. I mean, you guys got a couple more, but is there one guy that kind of stands out to you that you think is going to make the biggest impact this year? You're still muted.
Well, sorry, I have a big, large animal in the background.
Yep, I do too.
Keep him from interrupting y'all. So.
No worries.
He's, I would say that it's Creed,
and
it's probably not all that close because he's going to be the day one starter at center.
Okay,
and he's going to be your day one. He's going to be your day one starter probably for the future going forward. I don't imagine Nick Bolton will eventually factor into being the chief, the head of the defense, the chief of the defense, if you so to speak. It's kind of what they went and got him for, as an Anthony Hitchens buffer replacement, learn from him. But as far as this season, it's going to be Creed.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it. Sewing up that O-line was a huge part of your guys' off-season. I mean, just with the free agents, you made the trade for Orlando Brown, which can't be ignored. Joe Thuney signs a big deal. Austin Blythe, Kyle Long, who we know is injured. Lucas Nang is coming back from opting out, and Duvernay Tardif is coming back from opting out, who, was doing his doctor work. But you guys have a whole revamped offensive line, and it looks really strong right now. I mean, do you think you fixed the one weakness that the Chiefs had?
One thing I will give Brett Veach credit for, and he did this after the 2018 season, is wherever there's a problem, wherever the weakness is, wherever the big glaring, oh my God, that's bad, we don't wait 3, 4, try to fix it through the draft, do a bunch of this little stuff. No. He goes out and he addresses it immediately. When you're spending $500 million on a quarterback, and your offensive line is made up of, by the end of the season, a bunch of just guys, that can't happen. So the Thuney signing, they were willing to go spend money on Trent Williams to go with Thuney also. That was that people think that was an either or type deal. No, they were going to go get them both if it was given the option.
How?
And
that would have been amazing.
Yeah. So those they were both on the table. That was Trent used Kansas City to get somebody else's team over there to pay him a little bit more than they needed to, probably.
Highest. Oh, I think he just got passed. Did he just get passed by Ramczyk?
No, Ramczyk's deal is not as big.
Okay, so the highest paid
and
tackle
Ramczyk's
in the league.
Technically a right tackle, so you'll not see him get the left tackle money yet. Although, as Mitch Schwartz said earlier today, I'm glad that that's starting to not be a thing, because it's always been stupid to me.
Yeah.
If you get beat on one side, you get beat on the other side. It's still going to hurt you the same dang way. So,
Yep. I totally agree.
But that offensive line, the thing that I'm only a little bit, and it's only a little, I'm not even really concerned, is the amount of non-snaps together that they've played, because offensive line has a lot to do with like continuity and getting used to each other and knowing those things.
Totally.
But they have, in my opinion, the best offensive line coach in the NFL now that Skarnecki is gone. Andy Heck is incredible as far as an O-line coach is concerned. And Andy Reid was an offensive lineman, so they've got the teachers in the house to teach them what they need to know and how to do the things. So that'd be my only a little bit of a concern, is there's a lack of continuity there.
Yeah.
But the way this locker room operates and the way that the organization operates, I don't envision that being an issue.
Yeah, championship locker room, and they all know what it takes to succeed. So I don't see anyone kind of being the
well, and you added a former champion also, Joe Thuney.
Yeah, Thuney. Yeah,
has some titles under his belt at another organization, and he knows how things are done there. So you get and that's the other part, is they brought in a veteran left half to teach a rookie right half of the line, basically. Because I will tell you this, I would not be stunned if Trey Smith is at right guard before week 8.
Yeah, that was a steal too. What round was that? Was that 7th?
6 or 7, bottom 6. I think he was.
It was their second 6th round pick.
181, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, like Trey Smith was like projected to be like first round for the longest time, and then
blood clots.
Wow,
that's
he had a medical issue that kept him from practicing at Tennessee. After his freshman year, he didn't practice at all. Sophomore year, he practiced like 1 or 2 days a week. This last year, after they finally started getting under control, but the Chiefs medical staff identified they think they have a plan to help either maintain or the word that was used in the press conference was solve this problem, which I don't know how you can solve it, but hey, knock yourselves out. If you can solve it, solve it.
Yeah. Another thing you guys did too is you guys did a couple of trades that went, I like the Mike Hughes trade, and then also the trade for Orlando Brown. Sorry, I just watched it.
Mr. Orlando Brown is the trade that's going to make the most difference. The Mike Hughes trade is fine. I kind of don't like it as much because we essentially gave them Bashad Breeland in that deal too, because he went and signed there as a free agent. And I would have probably preferred to have Breeland back in Kansas City one more year than having Hughes, just based on Hughes is coming off a neck injury for one, which yucky.
Always scary.
He hasn't been good since UCF. And
I liked him at a UCF, by the way.
I did like him, but and now Veach loves reclamation first round projects. See Taco Charlton, see Emmanuel Agba, see Alex Okafor. He's got no DeAndre Baker, who, by the way, is going to be a starting corner for us this year.
Great move.
I actually think he's the reason that Bashad is in Minnesota. I think DeAndre Baker took Bashad Breeland's spot is what happened. But the trade that obviously is going to make the biggest difference is Orlando Brown trade. And the funny part is I'd been talking about that trade being an option. Myself, my guy Arrowhead Tom, he's on our Kingdom Says podcast with us. He also writes over at Fansided and does stuff with him too.
Shout out Brit Chief, who we interviewed. Brit Chief. Yep, he's been on it for a while.
Yeah,
Mr. Brit Chief is a good dude. Love that guy.
Yep.
They've got the Arrowhead Abroad show, or the Great British Chief show on there now on Arrowhead Pride.
Yep. We interviewed him and he called it before it happened. I mean, he was on the bandwagon for a while.
I think I got Arrowhead Tom's place wrong, because I think he's actually Arrowhead Addict, which is fan-sided, which there's so many. I'm sorry, guys. Chiefs Kingdom has a lot of content.
No worries.
You are a Chiefs fan.
We want to interview you. Come on.
You are a Chiefs fan.
Yeah.
There's content everywhere, man.
Of course.
For the Chiefs fans right now, and there's a ton of really, really great content. And that's what I will say about getting to work in this with the Chiefs podcast community is it's a really good community to be a group of. Man, everybody kind of helps each other. We work off each other. Everybody's got room for everybody, because it's not like that in all fan bases and all podcast bases. The Chiefs Kingdom fan base and podcast base, there's room for everybody. So,
and we like, a lot of them are old diehard fans. They're not they haven't just joined. They've been doing this for a while, and that's what we appreciate the most.
Yeah, that's the reason that this content group is so strong, is because there are so many dedicated old school, and everybody's like, oh, the Chiefs now, everybody's just a bandwagon fan. No, man, a lot of this kingdom's been around for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Long time.
Yep. Yeah, you don't get a lot of stadium for nothing.
Yeah. And you don't sell out games every game when you're awful either for no reason.
Yep. Well said.
Got it. I know you guys, I just didn't want to skim over this because I like Jaron Reed. You guys got him from the Seahawks, and just the way that he's signing. Yeah, and just the way he's going to be paired up next to Chris Jones, I think that's going to be really good duo.
I'll give you guys something to watch. Watch the defensive line this year, and pay attention to where they line up, because I think you're going to see something you haven't seen Spags pull out since the Giants defense when he had Pierre Paul and Umanura and that squad. You're going to see that NASCAR package, or whatever you want to call it, where everybody's standing and they're all moving around, and they just basically, he's going to put I would expect you're going to see snaps this year with Frank Clark, Chris Jones, Jaron Reed, and Taco Charlton on the field at the same time on a passing play. And he's Spags is going to go out there, pick which one of the linemen that each one of you thinks you have the best matchup against, and whoop their behind.
And get it. Yeah. No,
and they're going to tear some teams apart doing that, because Jaron Reed gives them a flexibility inside on early downs to put next to Derek Nottie and kick Chris Jones outside. And what flexibility provided with Jaron Reed's addition allowed them to not go get another defensive end and allow us to do a whole lot of different things and give Chris Jones something that he wanted, which is to play end. He was an end before he came to Kansas City.
Yep. Yeah. Is there a player on the team that you can either predict or you think that is going to be a cap casualty or just, going to get lost in the sauce because the rookies coming in?
There's going to be offensive linemen that do not make this roster that will start for other places this year.
Okay.
I like Martinez Rankin. Martinez Rankin already got cut. He's already gone. I think you may see Andrew Wiley be a piece that's either traded or cut.
Yeah.
At some point. Depending on Laurent Duvernay-Tardif's health and availability, and depending on Kyle Long's health and availability.
Yep.
I don't see a need for him on this roster, and they can't carry 13 linemen. That's a guy that I think you could probably see leave. It's going to be guys along that offensive line because that's where the abundance is right now. And then there's some receivers. They've got a deep receiver room that nobody knows about because their name's not Tyreek Hill or Sammy Watkins.
Yeah. I like Powell a lot. I love that you guys got Powell. I mean, I was a big fan of him. I mean, he kind of got his showing when DJ I can't pronounce his last name. I'm not even going to pronounce Ululele. Yeah. He meshed well with him, and I feel like he got his exposure. Then when Trev came back, he still connected well with Trev, and it was awesome, and I was actually surprised he went so low. And when you guys
4th round steal.
Yeah, I was like, damn, dude, you guys gonna have another 4th round still with him and then Snead the year previously? That's gonna be amazing. So
he's got a huge upside. Pringle is a guy that if he doesn't make this roster, he will make another roster somewhere else that could be a cap casualty or a guy that's traded for another piece somewhere else depth wise.
Yeah. Callaway.
Antonio Callaway is another name that's in that receiving room. Andy Reid seems to like him, so I think you're actually going to see him on the field this year.
He has a lot of talent.
Andy doesn't normally talk about guys he's not interested in using, and he's talked about Callaway twice this offseason already, which is nearly unheard of.
Yeah, another saved knucklehead, as a media puts it. You know what I mean? Like he got in trouble with the Browns, right? I know he was in trouble
before that.
Yeah, I know he's talking about Florida, but that's another like Andy Reid guy. Like he's the he took a bunch. He just took a chance on him. I mean,
he's last chance you for the NFL.
Oh, there you go. That's a great way to put it, man. That's a great way to put it.
He gives you your opportunity, and he tells you what the expectations are, and if you come in and you fuck it up, bye.
Yeah. This is literally
get JB on your coach JB on your guys' team, man.
This might literally be Callaway's last chance. I mean, if Andy Reid can't do it with him, then if he can't buy into this team, then where is he going to go to have more success? I mean,
that sounds familiar. That sounds almost like what I said about Le'Veon Bell right after he made his Andy Reid comments.
Yeah,
weird.
No,
if you can't get along with Mike Tomlin and Andy Reid,
and
you're a running back,
yeah,
who's
something's
the problem,
up.
Guy?
Something's up. Yeah. And
now,
shout
Adam
out
Gase. Yes, you can bang on Adam Gase all day long. That dude's an idiot.
And shout out to Mike Tomlin for dealing with those knuckleheads for so long and
Lord,
actually producing.
That dude deserves a raise strictly for managing those personalities together at one time.
He says that every single year, and I couldn't agree more.
I love
Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, and Ben Roethlisberger in one locker room had to have been like herding cats.
Yep, Juju. Don't forget about Juju. He
was late though.
He's got his personality. I mean,
now. But he was kind of he does now. He wasn't really had that personality when Antonio Brown was there because there wasn't enough oxygen in the room for anybody else to have a personality.
Yeah. G, you got anything else? I'm trying to look. I got one more question, and You got anything else?
Yeah. So with the new 17 game season, how do you feel about that one? And can you predict your record?
Well, I'm gonna go with Patrick.
You're gonna go with Patrick?
Mm-hmm. He called the record. I'm gonna go with Patrick.
All right.
What?
All right.
17-0
is what he called.
Yep. I mean,
He said he wants to go undefeated. I'm not gonna tell the man no until they don't. So no, realistically, I think probably 14-3. But if he wants to go 20-0, they'll go as close to it as they can get.
Yep. Last question I have about the coaching. We know you guys got Andy Reid. Eric Bieniemy has been doing interviews for head coaching jobs for the last 2 years at least. But I think he'll be gone. Probably this year. But is there someone that
gone last year?
Should have been gone last year. But is there someone that you think is in the wings to kind of take his spot to learn under Andy?
It's
who
Mike
do you got
Kafka.
in mind? Who? Oh, Mike Kafka.
It's Mike Kafka.
Yeah.
Mike Kafka is our current quarterback coach. He's been in the offense now, I think 5 years or something like that.
Okay.
He's been around. He knows he's the next guy in waiting to get that promo spot. Basically, the way that it works for Andy is you go from quarterback coach to offensive coordinator. Now, that didn't happen with EB because he was the running back coach, but EB's earned it a long time ago.
Yeah, he's been there forever. Yeah.
That man should have had a job 2 years ago. Definitely should have had a job last year. This whole, well, they didn't want to hire him because he's in the Super Bowl. Spare me.
Yeah.
Miss me with all that.
Yeah.
All that.
Yeah.
So Kafka's the guy that it's going to be the next OC, I think. I don't think there's any other way. Now, I'll give you a name that I think will be interesting to see if now, this is only if he wants to and only if he wants to stay in football. But if Alex Smith wants to coach,
oh yeah.
He will be the quarterback coach in Kansas City when Mike Kafka gets the OC job. And I don't think there's even a question.
Andy Reid's got dibs.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I hope he does.
And,
yeah.
And I think putting him back in that locker room, there's no negative side to it at all, period.
Oh, of course not.
Dude's an absolute warrior, first of all. And if anybody ever questioned that, I encourage you highly, go watch the 30 for 30 they did on that.
Project 11. Go watch that shit.
I dare you to not vomit when they show you his leg.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, damn.
Yep, that's a great one. That's a great one. Last thing, shout out to Sam Madison, who's your guys' DB coach.
Love me some Sam Mad.
Yeah, Miami Dolphins, great. We grew up watching him, but yeah,
he's the reason. I'm glad you mentioned him. He's the reason that Brett Veach and Andy Reid don't think investing in a cornerback matters a bit at all.
And I think you guys got lucky with the Baker stuff. I mean, he's a good corner, and I think he's going to come in and probably be an upgrade over Breland.
I'll tell you what, the second that they said that was extortion and not like an actual thing and he was being screwed and whatnot, the first thing I said was, baby, let's go get that.
Same here.
Yep.
Same here.
Everyone was saying that.
Yeah, I know. I was ready for him.
Oh, God. I was like, Andy, that's a second chance. Andy,
exactly.
That's a you guy.
Yep. Last chance, Andy, you.
And we haven't had a cornerback with that kind of potential ball skills, talent, expectations since Marcus Peters.
Mm-hmm.
And I am one of the few in Kansas City that would have preferred Marcus Peters stay a Chief.
Yeah.
And not have been traded for the exact same freaking draft capital we took the chance on him with.
That was
we took the risk. We took the risk because he had stuff before he ever got to the NFL.
Yeah.
We took the chance. There was always questions about the dude. They managed him. He had to tolerate Bob Sutton's stupidity, which is the whole reason he's not a Chief anymore.
It was more of a personality thing.
The second worst coaching decision ever in Kansas City with Bob Sutton being the defensive coordinator behind Todd Haley being a head coach. But yeah.
That is it for me. G, anything else?
No, that's it for me as well. Kyle, thanks again for joining us. If you want to go ahead and shout out any type of work that you are working on at the moment, or, again, let us know where we can find you, go ahead, have at it.
I want to say thank you guys very much for having me on. It was a blast. I enjoyed this very much. Probably went long because I talked too much, but
we love it.
That's fine.
My handle, like I said, K-then16. I talk pretty much all sports, but cover Chiefs. NHL is my main. I'm really good at the NHL because I've been playing the sport a really long time. So I'm really good at that. Say It Again Network. There's a website. Go to the Twitter handle, Instagram, you name it. We're on all the socials. We got our LinkedIn content. You can pull up the little link tree. It'll take you to everything you need. Merch shop, all that. Kingdom Says Pod. We got like 40 different podcasts over there, but just the ones I'm on at Kingdom Says Pod, at First Line Pod, both hockey and the Chiefs Pod. We'd love to have you guys come check us out. We love hearing from people. Ask us questions. Anything you guys want, we're here to help and here to provide content and try to give everybody what they want. So
you got it. All your links will be below, and the Say It Again Network is coming up. I see them all over the place. If you have a favorite team or a favorite sport, they're out there. They cover it. So go ahead and go follow them.
We are trying to get full coverage on all of the teams. It's obviously there's a lot of teams in a lot of leagues, but we do try to cover the whole league and then cover what teams we got people for. And if you're a person who's interested in covering a team and you've never done this before, or maybe you've done it but you're looking to get back into it, let us know. If we think you can fit and we think we can help you out, we'll help you out and you can help us out. So
yeah. Sounds good.
All right, Kyle, thank you very much for joining us. You had great stories, great everything, and we appreciate it. We'll have you back on soon.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks again for having me. We may have to get you guys come on and talk. I know we'll probably have to have Gian talk some Niners about the Niners.
I'm down, man. Let me know. Get a hold of me, man.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Have a good one.
You too.